What's up, and welcome to the Mapping the Field Football 101 session. Today we're going to talk about what the football field is shaped like and the important numbers and elements in each part of the field. First of all, a football field is 53 1/3 yards wide. A football field is 120 yards long. We often forget that those end zones are attached. We talk about 100 yards. Don't forget the end zones. They are very important to how we play the game. The hash marks, they divide the field into thirds. The hash marks are 17.7 yards away from the sideline. The importance of the hashes also are that the ball is placed on the hash when a play ends outside of it. When we talk about the wide side or the short side, we use the terms field and boundary. The field is the wide side of the field. The boundary is the short side. We use the numbers to map out the space between the hash and the sideline. The top of the numbers is the innermost part, or the literal top if you're reading the number. It is 9 yards away from the sideline. And the bottom of the numbers is 7 yards away from the sideline. This becomes very important in how the sideline is defended by the defense and how the offense attacks this space with receivers, especially running vertical routes. On the sideline itself, we have a coach box. We call it the 3-coach box because you can only have 3 coaches in that box. Otherwise, it's a penalty on the head coach, and 2 of those gets him ejected. Behind the 3-coach box is the player box. This is where all players need to hang out and support personnel, assistant coaches, etc. When we talk about the line of scrimmage, that's where the play starts. We often use the letters LOS to talk about the line of scrimmage. We're going to use the term pylon quite a bit. A pylon are those foam blocks that you see at the corners of the end zones. The post is the middle of the field. We name it that because it's named for the goalpost. But when we're talking about defending the post, when we're talking about running to the post, we're literally meaning the goalpost, dead center of the field. It's another way that we divide the field up. You might hear coaches talk about sticks or chains. It's the same thing. It's the measurement for the first down marker, and they're going to work on the visitor sideline. This is important to understand. They're going to stand outside that 3-coach box, and so in that player box, we need to make room for them, and often we'll put cones down to make sure players stay at the back half of the player's box. Extra points and 2-point conversions are attempted between the hashes along the 3-yard line. You don't have to run it on that center line. You can run it any 2-point or extra point along anywhere from hash to hash, 3 yards away from the end zone. Kickoffs are the same thing. They're from the 40-yard line. We move anywhere hash to hash, but does need to remain on the minus 40-yard line. So what does minus 40 mean? Well, we have plus territory and minus territory. Plus territory is when you're driving in to score. It's the half of the field closest to the end zone you're scoring in. Minus territory is the closest to the end zone you are defending, which brings us to field zones. We can see here in this perspective, we're going to pretend that we are an offense coming away from our own goal line, down at the minus, moving up to the plus. So that first zone is called the coming out box. This is often a time for big plays to be dialed up by offenses or big attempts. Sometimes teams play conservatively, and we want to take advantage of those conservative teams. And as offenses, we want to take advantage of all the grass, 90 yards worth, or 100 yards worth really, out in front of us. The base zone area is generally where an offense is going to run their base plays. You're not going to see a lot of trickery here. This is from the minus 20 to the minus 40 or so. Most offenses are pretty conservative in the base zone, doing whatever they can to get to the deep shot zone. In the shot zone, you usually have, especially in high school football, the offense is going to be in 4-down mode. And so you're going to see a lot of deep shots to the end zone. And this is where you're going to see trick plays often, in this deep shot zone, which goes from 40 to 40. Part of the field called the going in. This is where the offense is working to do whatever it can to get into red zone or favorable field goal range. The defense is doing whatever it can to keep them out of the red zone and trying to deny an easy field goal. And we divide the red zone into the red zone and the goal line. Goal line is usually within the 10 yards and red zone is usually outside of that. This is a super important zone which has changed the rules in the last few years. It's called the free blocking zone. So it's relative to the ball and the line of scrimmage at the snap. The free blocking zone extends 4 yards on either side of the ball and extends 3 yards both north and south on the field. And so you have this 8x6 box from the ball where rules are slightly different than anywhere else on the field. For example, this is the only place on the field that players can cut block. It has to be done immediately at the snap and in the free blocking zone. So the only players that can cut, both defense and offense actually can cut, but it has to be a lineman in this zone at the snap. That can happen in this free blocking zone. The other thing that the free blocking zone now encapsulates is the fact that quarterbacks can throw the ball away once they've gotten outside the horizontal edge of the free blocking zone. You've seen this on college football and NFL now for a few years. That is, if they get outside the tackle box, you're allowed to throw it away. The free blocking zone is very similar to the tackle box. It is slightly wider than what you would consider the tackle box. That's been Mapping the Field, Football 101.